នាងខ្ញុំប្រកាសណានឹងយើងខ្ញុំទាំងអស់គ្នាសូមក្រាបថ្វាយបង្គំព្រះថេរានុថេរៈគ្រប់ព្រះអង្គជាទីសក្ការៈនាងខ្ញុំនឹងក្រុមការងារសូមគោរពជម្រាបសួរឯកឧត្តមប្រធានសាស្ត្រាចារ្យបណ្ឌិតដាំឆារីជាអគ្គមេបញ្ជាការដ៏ខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់ជាទីបំផុតនិងជម្រាបសួរបងប្អូនទាំងអស់ដែលនៅក្នុងនិងក្រៅប្រទេសជាទីស្រឡាញ់រាប់អានចាថ្ងៃនេះក៏ដូចជាសពមួយដងដែរទស្សនៈស្ត្រីខ្មែរនៃឧត្តមក្រុមប្រឹក្សាយើងខ្ញុំបានមកជួបបងប្អូនម្ដងទៀតហើយនេះក៏ជាលើកទី5ហើយដែរចាដូច្នោះយើងក៏មិនមានអ្វីខុសប្លែកដែរគឺក្រុមស្ត្រីយើងខ្ញុំនឹងសំណេះសំណាលគ្នាជាភាសាអង់គ្លេសដែលមានក្មួយស្រី CHHOVY ជាអ្នកសម្រុះសម្រួលដើម្បីកុំឲ្យខាត់ពេលវេលាយូរខ្ញុំសូមប្រកល់នាទីនេះជូនទៅក្មួយស្រី CHHOVY ក្មួយស្រី CHHOVY សូមអញ្ជើញចា៎
ចាសូមអរគុណអ្នកមីងណារី Good evening and welcome back to Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue Khmer Lady Viewpoint Show. And now I would like to introduce our panelists this evening. Right now we have Mrs. CHHYNA SITH, Ms. KALYAN, and of course Mrs. NARY SUON. And my name is CHHOVY. I am your host tonight. This is our 5th show, and we are grateful for the support that we had on our 4th show. And we all really appreciate it for your loyal support. Before we begin our show tonight, I would like to remind all Khmer around the world again that we are not politicians. We are just ordinary housewives, and we just mothers. And definitely we are enormously proud grandmothers. But most importantly, we all Khmer. This is why we can no longer sit still to hear a cry of our people every day. Our purpose and our mission as Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue Khmer Lady is to keep all Khmer around the globe to inform the real news. We must reiterate again and again of our painful history until it is enough so that our next generation will not repeat the painful history again. Before we get too much ahead of ourselves, let us get on our topic for tonight. Our topic tonight is the 45th anniversary of the genocide. 0 year, the killing fields. For the last 157 years, Khmer experienced only wars, famine, and genocide. This is a result of bad king and incompetent Khmer leaders. I am so glad that hope is on horizon and not too far away from reality. What touched us the most were the years between 1975 to 1979. The butcher regime led by Pol Pot and his gangster supported by the Chinese Communist Party with 5,000 technical advisors on hand. And the world body, especially the United Nations, stood by silently 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days to allow the butcher slaughter 3 million innocent souls. Tonight, we are going to share with everyone out there the history of the brutal period that slaughtered millions of innocent lives. We will try to answer following question. Number one, what really happened that leading to April 17, 1975? Number two, who were the responsible party, the genocide? Number three, how did it happen? Number four, could the genocide have been avoided? On KALYAN, what really happened on what really happened in the last 30 days leading to the April 17, 1975?
About the last 30 days before the fall of the Khmer Republic government was very intense. The U.S. Ambassador John Dean and political officer Timothy M. Carney tried to persuade Cambodian government leaders to flee, but nearly all of them stayed behind, only to be executed by the Khmer Rouge shortly after the Americans pulled out.
What really happened on April 17, 1975 on KALYAN? Where were you that day?
Thank you so much for asking, Bong Chavi. It was the darkest day for my family and I. I was only 11 years old when I lost my father along with the other 3 million people. I was very sad knowing that I might not see my dad again after he never came back as he's supposed to on that day.
I thought your family in Bangkok during the fall of the Khmer Republic government. My family and I were in Saigon at the time.
Yes, Bong, we were in Bangkok. As I remember, my father had to go back to Phnom Penh for a government business on April the 8th, 1975. And now it makes more sense why my dad had to go to Phnom Penh at that time. As the truth unfolds, there was a private agreement to settle the Civil War peacefully, but it fell apart on April 12th when the Chinese Communist Party failed to honor their agreement.
What do you mean, on KALYAN? Please, can you share with us?
Yes, after 30 years, the world solemnly pledged never again. But the world stood by and watched in horror as another genocide unfolded. This time was in Cambodia under Pol Pot. Especially then, the United States President Jimmy Carter did not do anything for 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days long.
Thank you so much for explaining on KALYAN. Nary, where were you on April 17, 1975?
I was with my family in my house in Kandal province.
How about you, on CHHYNA? Where were you that year? Can hear you on. I can hear you. Thank you. Sorry, can't hear you.
Sorry, I have a little bad connections for a second.
Thank you. Yeah, my question is, where were you on April 17, 1975?
Well, basically, Bong Chavi, I was young in 1975. I don't really remember what happened then. My parents were instructed to. It's very painful to talk about it, and I really don't want to talk about it at this time. I know that they wanted to kill my family 3 times at that point, and in the end, we got help from our family, and we were able to get away with it during 1975 long.
Oh, okay. You know what? The whole world knew that Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, responsible for 3 million souls. CHHYNA, can you name the top people that responsible for the genocide?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Bong.
Yeah, it's all right then. I want to go back to on Sray KALYAN.
Yeah, well, you know, the International Tribunal identified the top 5 suspects of the butcher regime. 1 is Nuon Chea, 2 is Eng Sari, 3 Khieu Samphan, 4 Eng Tarit, and 5 Keng Kieu Il, known as Sckhk. Now, Pol Pot's name was not on this list because he died before the tribunal process began. And King Sihanouk and other names were left out because of the political bias.
Wow, thank you so much. Let us look at the number of the people that died during the 3-year, 8-month, and 20-day closely, so everyone could have a better understanding of how deep our pain really is. What was the Khmer population before the genocide started, KALYAN? Do you have this data on KALYAN?
Yes, Bong. According to our data bank and other verifiable sources, in 1962, the year of the last census, was taken before Cambodia was engulfed by war. The population of the country was cited at 5.7 million. And 10 years later, in 1972, the population was estimated to have reached 7.1 million. And the estimated number was about 7.3 million in 1975. Now, with 3 million people got slaughtered, that leaves us only about 4 million people in 1979. The figures of the 3 million deaths between 1975 and 1979 was given by the Vietnamese communist-sponsored Phnom Penh regime, the People's Republic of Cambodia. And now this evil regime data shows 16 million people. And this is very, very questionable. How could we gain so many people after the genocide? Okay, Mr. K.L. Bendra, he's a former chairman and secretary general of the International Commission for Supervision and Control in Cambodia, set up under the 1954 Geneva Agreement for Indochina from 1964 to 1967, stated that the Khmer population was about 9.5 million in September of 2005. He even wrote to King Sihanouk, which we do have a copy of the letter. Also, this is something that we need to review closely to protect our sovereignty.
Oh, okay. How about Nary? You have any comment on that?
Yeah, on KALYAN, please tell me more. This is the first time that I heard about this.
Yes, Mom. Did you also know that before January the 7th, 1979, the date that the Vietnamese invaded my land, there were 0 Vietnamese in Cambodia at that time.
Wow. How about CHHYNA? Is there anything want to say?
Yes, Bong, you're correct. Because Pol Pot killed anyone that look and speak Vietnamese. So 0 Vietnamese before January the 7th in 1979 is one of the 1,000% correct.
Yeah, and there is more to this. This is a real fact. This man, Hun Sen, is a former Khmer Rouge comrade and killer. But he's much worse than Khmer Rouge because he is also a traitor. On September 12, 2005, Mr. Bendra also wrote a two-page letter to Cambodia Daily addressing this matter that Hun Sen, the traitor, lied all along in order to help Ho Chi Minh's dying wish to come through to dominate our Khmer land by bringing our country into the Indo-Chinese Federation. And the worst is, will be dominated by the Vietnamese.
What did Hun Sen lie about? On KALYAN, yeah.
Well, per the report, Hun Sen told Peter Sawyer of the Asian affair on January the 6th, 1988, that the population of Cambodia at the end of 1987 was 7,995,000 people. According to Hun Sen, ethnic Khmer amounted to be between 74% to 80% of the population. And Hun Sen said that there were only 60,000 Vietnamese immigrants, which Mr. K.L. Bendra said in a letter to Cambodia Daily, it was a lie.
Wow.
KALYAN, here is another fact that I found per the Vietnamese Insight. A forum sponsored by the National United Front of the Liberations of Vietnam of November 1992 and was issued from the USA and had stated in the editorial that were 2 million Vietnamese settlers in Cambodia, confirmed by the UF Peacekeeping Task Force.
Now let us talk about the 3 million people out of 7.3 million people. This is like 41% of the people dying. This means 4 out of 10 people that got butchered. Gina.
Yeah, CHHOVY, this is the crime of the universe. The people that have blood on their hands and still alive will be brought to justice.
That is right. The Supreme Council of Khmer for Refuge will make sure that the Khmer Rouge Court will continue the list murders by opening more charge or complaint against the still breathing and even dead murderers.
These murders violated the following human rights, international treaties and conventions. There's total of 9 conventions, treaties, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, International Conventions on the Eliminations of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, Conventions on the Eliminations of Discrimination Against Women, Genocide Conventions in 1948, and then ICC Rome Statute 1998, Geneva Conventions 1949, the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treaty or Punishment, Conventions on the Right of the Child. Besides, the name mentioned earlier, there were other people that involved and got blood on their hands as well, but I'm going to only mention the most significant ones. The name of these murders and traitor are based on the interview that was conducted by Ms. Chan Sopetra with Mr. Chai, the former interpreter of Chiasim and Sarpim. These are the names. King Sihanouk, even if he is dead, Hun Sen and family members killed 600,000 people during that time. Heng Samrin killed 600,000. Man Sam-on killed 180,000 people. Sarkane killed 80,000. Thiep Ban killed 60,000. Ngao Nam Hong, he was the prison chief of Bang Trabai High School, I believe. This is the prison that holds all Khmer returned students from Europe back in 1975. I want to clarify that Our Lady's Viewpoint group only share with our audiences the true facts of history from thousands of pages of materials that we extracted from.
Let us talk about the head of the butcher first, Pol Pot, KAK Salaksaw. Then I would like you to share the rest later, KALYAN. What do you know about Pol Pot early life? Please share a brief, his early life.
Dr. Bang, and I will keep it short. First, this butcher, Pol Pot, is an atheism, which means he does not believe there is God. In other words, he was a monster. And this is why he was able to kill 3 million Kon Khmer. Any living soul on this planet does have some belief of deity. So this means that this butcher has no soul. Pol Pot was risen from a poor peasant family, but he was quite a well-connected young man. He was born under the name of Salaksaw in a small fishing village in 1925. However, he was able to attend the elite school in Phnom Penh.
Wow.
Yes, this monster Pol Pot had no heart at all, dear.
KALYAN, how did he do in school?
Well, not too well. After flunking out of high school in Phnom Penh, he managed to obtain the French scholarship to attend school in Paris, which was confirmed by my mom because my late grandfather, Mr. Khmer, was in France for his internship in Paris when Sckhk was there as a student from 1951 to 1953. Again, he did not do well in school in Paris. That is where he found communist ideology before he returned back to Cambodia in 1953.
When did Pol Pot got connected with the Chinese Communist Party?
Okay, let me give you a little background here. After his return to Cambodia, Pol Pot taught history, geography, and French literature at a private school from 1956 to 1963. Now, at the same time, he was plotting a revolution.
Let us return to the damn leader butcher. When this movement take place, what I mean, when did his group really, start the activity? On CHHYNA, can you provide on this data?
Yes, well, of course, per our historian and data bank record, Pol Pot and other party leaders moved deep into the countryside of northern Cambodia, encamping at first with a group of Viet Cong. 3 years later, following a clampdown on communist activity by then Prince Sihanouk, that was sometimes around 1966.
Thank you, On CHHYNA. Now let us talk about another member butcher. This is no other than King Sihanouk himself. He did not, did he join the Pol Pot gangster member? KALYAN, do you have this data also on this?
Yes, well, per our data bank and other records that's available, concluded that in March of 1970, Prince Sihanouk was visiting the Soviet Union when the National Assembly voted to remove him from office as head of state. However, there are enough validated data that the removal of Sihanouk was a strategy drawn, nobody but him by himself. He drawn, this by himself. Because he faced his own illness and seeking medical treatment in Paris following a short visit to KALYAN Hospital in Phnom Penh. Anyhow, Lon Nol subsequently took control of the government sometime right after that Sihanouk joined Pol Pot.
How did Sihanouk react, On CHHYNA?
Well, how is he supposed to react when your plan got backfired? Well, Sihanouk got confused and hurt, so he traveled to Beijing and accepted Chinese advice to resist the coup by taking charge of the United Front government in exile, which led by Pol Pot. Only a few days before then, they were fighting against him.
You know what? This Chinese Communist Party got its hand in from the very beginning of the slaughtering process.
Yes, well, the Chinese Communist Party sure did have 3 million innocents' blood on their hands. They will pay dearly for this crime, and on top of that, the coronavirus that they have created to kill the world. I understand that they had 5,000 of their technical advisors during that period, which was 3 years and 8 months and 20 days long.
Damn, I am so mad when this topic coming up. Let us talk about what happened between 1970 to 1975, right after Sihanouk betrayed his army to join forth with the Khmer communists that he tried to arrest way back in 1966.
Well, this was another evidence that this no good king only interested in his power regardless. This no good king was willing to serve the communist agenda in the hope to gain his throne back.
So what happened if the no good king Sihanouk never joined forth with Pol Pot?
Well, Sihanouk was very well loved by most of the Khmer people, especially the older generation, even till his passing in 2012. Without Sihanouk, the Khmer Rouge would not be able to take power over our Khmer land long. So Pol Pot and his gangster knew it very well to get Sihanouk to join their Communist Party. They knew that Sihanouk would do anything to get back at his cousin, Prince Sisawat Sarimatat, and General Lon Nol. You know what? This is what I call a self-serving king vendetta. And 3 million lives were the price.
Wow, unbelievable.
Sihanouk was not a good leader at all. He only loved himself, not Kon Khmer.
I agree. What happened on April 17, 1975 on CHHYNA?
When the Khmer Rouge defeated the Khmer Republic in April of 1975, Bong, then Prince Sihanouk became the symbolic head of state of the new regime while Pol Pot remained in power. From the first day on, Pol Pot began by declaring this is year zero and activate this brutal philosophy on the innocent souls that he learned well from his master, the devil Mao Zedong. That was the day that the blood of 3 million lives started to flow on the Savanapum.
Year zero, purify. What do you mean? CHHYNA, could you please clarify so that we have a better understanding?
Yes, of course, Bong. This evil man, Pol Pot, hates the world. He hates capitalism to the core. In summary, he was extremely a sick man. He banned anything that related to capitalism, Western culture, city life, religion, and all foreign influences were to be extinguished in favor of an extreme form of peasant communism. All foreigners were expelled, the embassy closed, and any foreign economic or medical assistance was refused. The use of foreign language was also banned. Newspaper and television stations were shut down, radios and bicycle confiscated, and mail and telephone usage curtailed. Money was also forbidden. All businesses were shuttered, religion banned, education halted, healthcare eliminated, and parental authority revoked. Thus, Cambodia was sealed off from the outside world for 3 years and 8 months and 20 days long. Throughout Cambodia, deadly purges were conducted to eliminate the remaining of the old society. For example, the educated, the wealthy, the Buddhist monks, the police, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and former government official. Bong.
Thank you, Onchina.
Yes. Yes, anyone that is found to be an educated person or military background get shot on the spot.
Yes, yes, I agree. Nari. On KALYAN, what happened on the first day with the captured Khmer Republic government officials?
Well, on the first day, these butcher Khmer Rouge systematically tortured, starved, and eradicated millions of fellow Cambodians who gained a reputation for extreme brutality.
Was there any top Khmer Republic official or official got captured?
I'll just take a few minutes. Yes, Bong. My beloved father was one of the top Khmer Republic, top-ranking Khmer Republic that got captured and tortured. My dad was a lieutenant colonel at the time.
You know,
he should have been on the last evacuation flight, but he must have been in his military uniform that he only does. This was one of the given mistakes that was tricked by King Sihanouk to lure people out. And the most significant person was one of my dad's direct boss, Prince Sisawat Simata. Thank you, Bong.
Oh my goodness. Oh, China.
Yeah, I really understand how you feel, Bong. I was in the same boat. Our family almost nearly got killed, and I really hate to talk about it. I was really, really young at the time, but you know, somewhere between the line, he probably were together with, you know, at the Circle Sportive Swimming Pool somewhere, along with Mr. Longboret and many other military officials on April 17, 1975, a site that has since become the locations of the new U.S. Embassy right now, Bong. Sad,
I am so sorry, on KALYAN. I lost most all my family members during at that time too.
You know, I understand that the Prince Seri Mata refused to evacuate with the American ambassador John Gunther Dean.
Yes, you're right, Bong. At that time, the United States government had pulled Operation Eagle Pool, had put Operation Eagle Pool with 12 U.S. Marines helicopters bristling with guns to evacuate. Then the U.S. diplomat, Mr. Timothy Carney, was a political officer at the U.S. Embassy in Cambodia in 1975, and he was a key person in organizing to evacuate for nearly 300 people. He did try to persuade all the Cambodian government leaders to flee, but nearly all of them stayed behind, only to be executed by the Khmer Rouge shortly after the Americans pulled out.
KALYAN, Prince Seri Mata, and your dad were among other patriotic people, plus the million lives. I am so sorry for your loss. It is very sad, you know, for them to die this way. CHHYNA, please tell us more about the butcher regime.
CHHOVY, this regime was very brutal than anything that I could imagine of. There were about 20,000 people were tortured into giving false confessions at Tul Slang, a school in Phnom Penh, which had been converted into a jail cell. Elsewhere, suspects were often shot to the spot before any questioning or bludgeoned with an axe.
How did they identify who is who on KALYAN?
Yeah, well, Bong, in one incident, soon after the fall of Phnom Penh, more than 300 former military officers were told to put on their uniform to meet CHHYNA. Instead, they were taken to a jungle clearing in Battambang province and were machine gunned or clubbed to death, Bong.
Nary, do you think King Sihanouk, you know, what do you think about Sihanouk? I think he's actually created a Khmer Rouge.
Yes, Khmer. He is create Khmer Rouge. Even Hun Sen that he enjoyed in Khmer Rouge because of the Sihanouk.
Thank you, Nary. Thank you for your feedback on this question. Now let us look at why the butcher regime fell. CHHYNA, please share your thought about this butcher.
Well, the butcher Pol Pot, by killing his own people, that was the main reason that weakened his inner circle, and the whole country became so weak in order to protect himself or herself. Not too long after they gained control of the country, the paranoid leader Pol Pot began the second round of cleansing. For those they suspected of disloyalty to Pol Pot, many Khmer Rouge leaders were also shot. The motto was, "What is rotten must be removed," a Khmer Rouge slogan proclaimed.
What do you mean rotten? People do not get rot.
Well, their motto, rotten ideology, was based on Maoist, communist. If you're no longer loyal, you are rotten. Also, they do not allow unsupervised gathering any more than 2 people. Hundreds of unwilling couples ceremonies that were performed. Young people were taken from their parents and placed in children's camp as well.
Can I please share with us how this brutal regime collapsed?
Bong, I believe it all happened when Pol Pot started his second round cleansing. His inner circle and lower level commanders like Hun Sen, Heng Samrin, Chia Sim began to stray off to Vietnam. Then on December the 25th, 1978, Vietnam launched a full-scale invasion of Cambodia, seeking to end the Khmer Rouge border attacks. On January the 7th, 1979, Phnom Penh fell and Pol Pot was disposed of power. The Vietnamese then was installed a puppet government consisting of Khmer Rouge defectors. Some of the people I have mentioned, Pol Pot retreated into Thailand with the remnants of his Khmer Rouge army and began guerrilla war against a succession of the Cambodian government lasting over the next 17 years. After a series of internal power struggle in the 1990s, he finally lost control of the Khmer Rouge. In April 1998, at 73-year-old, Pol Pot died of an apparent heart attack following his arrest before he could be brought to trial by an international tribunal for the event of 1975 through 1979 bong.
Thank you, China. Kalyan, do you have anything to add or about this brutal regime?
Well, there are so many living proofs of this regime. My statement only reflects the pain of others. Anything I know is based on my research. People were murdered for not working hard, for complaining about their living conditions, for collecting food or stealing foods for their own use or for the children, for wearing jewelry, for having sexual relations, for grieving over the loss of their relatives or friends, for expressing religious sentiments. Sikh people were often eliminated. The killing often, if not usually, occur without any kind of trial. And they continued uninterrupted until the 1979 Vietnamese invasion.
Oh, so sad. Nari, you have any comment about that?
Yes, Kalyan and CHHOVY, it is correct. It was very, very painful at that time there.
Did any of this butcher ever face justice on Kalyan? Oh, CHHYNA, excuse me, I meant to ask on CHHYNA.
Sure, Bong. Only a few members of the Khmer Rouge. To me, those guys were expendable, people by the Chinese and King Sihanouk. The Chinese Communist Party threw Khmer Rouge under the bus to advance its political agenda in Southeast Asia, Bong.
When did the world come together to bring this murder to justice, and what is the name of the court? You know what, on this subject, I need both of you, Kalyan and CHHYNA, to participate. So let us start with Kalyan, then CHHYNA, you might want to jump in if you see anything needed to be added. Okay, now Kalyan, please tell us when this official date of the court officially began.
Well, the official date was on July 18, 2007. Cambodian and international co-prosecutor at the newly established mixed United Nations and Cambodian Tribunal in Phnom Penh found evidence of crime against humanity, genocide, grave breaches of the Geneva Convention, homicide, torture, and religious persecution.
Nari, what do you think of this Khmer Rouge court?
Yeah, to me, that Khmer Rouge court must be revived when the Supreme Council of Khmer take over the country.
Yes, I hope so, Nari. But what is the progress of the trial? Who and when did the conviction verdict read out on CHHYNA?
On November 16, 2018, the Cambodian and international judges of Extraordinary Chamber and the Court of Cambodia, in short, it is called ECCC, ruled that the former Khmer Rouge regime headed by Pol Pot had perpetrated genocide in Cambodia while it held power during 1975 through 1979. The court convicted Bong, Kil Sampon, I believe that's his name, the genocide of the ethnic Vietnamese minority of Cambodia, and convicted, and then Nguyen Chia of the genocide of the country's Cha Muslim minority. He was Pol Pot former's deputy and the Khmer Rouge regime head of states. Both men were also convicted of extermination and various other crimes against humanity and were sentenced to life imprisonment. Bong. These convictions means that most of the surviving top leaders of the Democratic Kampuchea Khmer Rouge regime have now been jailed, prosecuted, and convicted of crimes they committed when in power in 1975 through 1979. We all know that Pol Pot died before the court able to formally charge him.
Thank you, CHHYNA.
All these people are very evil. They are very bad people. I am looking forward to Sihanouk and Hun Sen to stand on trial.
Thank you again, Nari. CHHYNA, the world know that about the atrocity and we got the conviction. What were the crimes that this butcher commit per the international treaty on the human right? Can you please share with everyone that is listening tonight?
While these butchers committed an atrocity against 3 million Kon Khmer are the crime of all crimes. The official charges that filed with the extraordinary chambers and the court of Cambodia are, I am going to read this out slowly so everyone is listening tonight could carefully note it. It is a crime against humanity, namely murder, extermination, enslavement, imprisonment, torture, persecutions, other inhumane acts, inhumane treatment, enforced disappearances, forced labor, forced marriages, and rape. In summary, these butchers gravely breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949 and other international treaties, namely willful killing, willfully causing great suffering or serious injury to body or health, torture, and unlawful confinement of civilians, and per extraordinary chambers in the court of Cambodia, they also violated the 1956 Cambodian Penal Code, namely premeditated homicide. From his mistake, Kon Khmer cried ever since, but I have a great belief that the happy days are coming soon, Bong. Even if the other people that have not listed on the extraordinary chamber in the court of Cambodia.
You know what, I feel that I was there with the people that have gone through this pain. Now, ladies, could this genocide have been avoided? Kalyan, your turn, please share with us on your thought.
You know, this is all new to me. I truly have a little understanding of what really happened. Besides, it was a genocide, ethnic cleansing, Khmer, killing Khmer. What I have learned in the last 10 to 12 months is very fascinating, especially in the last 5 weeks of researching and gather facts for this show. This is our 5th show, probably the most difficult show for me due to my personal pain involving my beloved father. I could not end this show tonight without acknowledging 2 people, Mr. Sorapet and my husband. They have been tremendously helpful in making this difficult show possible. Without Mr. Sorapet's guidance and help in providing facts of the actual event, that was very hard to find. And my husband for his support and encouragement in my struggle to write the show. So with a great appreciation, I just want to say thank you to both of them.
Oh, that is very nice, Kalyan. Please share with us what you learned. I am very eager to hear what you all going to share with us tonight, Kalyan.
Well, you know, this genocide could have been avoided if we had the real leaders in the last 200 years. What I have learned made me very sick. And every time I repeat this or think about it, our problem go all the way back to year 1863. And CHHYNA and I discussed about this the other day.
Wow, that fall 1863, CHHYNA, can you share with us on this?
Yeah, Bong, in 1863, France became our protector because Vietnam wanted to swallow Khmer land from the east and Thailand wanted to swallow Khmer land from the west. Due to our incompetent kings, of course, since then Vietnam tried many times to conquer us in 1864, 1954, and 1979. The Vietnamese communists used their familiar method, always do, His Excellency always mentioned, you break up and then divide, destroy, and of course, conquer.
Yes, His Excellency always mentioned this word of the wisdom, break up, divide, destroy, and conquer. Please elaborate in detail of how the Vietnamese communists planned it out, their plan to conquer us, Kalyan.
Yes, Bong, earlier this month, I had a privilege to interview an elder Khmer gentleman. To me, he is a scholar in his own rights. Due to his safety, let us refer him to Lok Tabayon. Now, before I forget, I would like to say thank you to Lok Tabayon for his dedication and for spending hours and hours every day for the last 25 years or more for compiling and researching about Khmer history for Khmer around the world. to know the truth about this evil communist ideology group that planted to eliminate old Khmer and Khmer land.
Yes, on KALYAN, I understand that, you know, you have interviewed him earlier this month. Can you please continue?
Yes, well, this gentleman is truly knowledgeable about our dark history. His information is very factual and documented. I have the privilege to be able to speak to him on that day. He was very personal and so eager to share with me all the facts that he has compiled over 20,000 pages of news article and from unclassified official documents. His office is in a small apartment with wall-to-wall of books and books of the historical material. And his walls are full of posters from corner to corners. To me, he is an Khmer Albert Einstein.
Were you able to examine the material? I understand he had it like in a digital form and video and audio as well.
Yes, Bob, there are so many documents that he has compiled in the last 25 years or more. I don't think we have enough time for me to share, to cover everything that he shared with me on that day. But however, I will share with our audience tonight only the surface core points that took place with the Vietnamese communists and the Chinese communist dirty doctrine to control Southeast Asia and to swallow our Khmer land for good.
KALYAN, I just simply wanted to say that you are so right. Chinese communist dirty doctrine was planned in the 60s for sure. And the Vietnamese emperor orchestrated with Cambodia French colonial rulers to allow Sihanouk to become their puppets, king when they put him on the throne in 1941. And now they tried extremely very hard to implement it, as we could see that they are harvesting what they sowed.
Yes, you know what, per Bayon research, the Vietnamese communists and the Chinese communists colluded with each other for their own separate agenda. They work independently, but concurrently compensating each other to weaken us.
What do you mean concurrently compensating each other, you know, weaken us? I don't understand.
Well, what I mean is now these two evils have separate agenda to destroy us at the same time. The Vietnamese communists, they have Monique Easy as their spy, and the Chinese communists, they have Khmer Rouge for their agenda.
Thank you, KALYAN, for clarifying it. Before you go on, we have a short 2.5 minute of the video provided by Bayon to share, you know, with us and with the audience tonight. Please play a video, please.
Sihanouk was studying at Lycée Chassé Lulabat in Saigon before he crowned king in 1941. When Sihanouk was attending Lycée Chassé Lulabat, he met with several Vietnamese students whom later they became Viet Cong. In 1955, Sihanouk allowed Viet Cong to enter Cambodia territory to conduct their activities, and he was helping them to capture South Vietnam. In March of 1965, Sihanouk Viet Cong and Prath Laos attending the meeting. This was the event Viet Cong used to campaign against Suharto government. In the 60s, Sihanouk agreed to provide support to Viet Cong. People in the palace witnessed Sihanouk provided massive supply of rice and many other things to support Viet Cong fighting against South Vietnam. At the same time, in Cambodia jungle, Viet Cong supported and trained Khmer Rouge to bring down Sihanouk and his regime. In Pierre's book, Cambodge Do Silence, page 117 stated that Monique Izzy's mother is Vietnamese and her father is French-Italian. Monique's mother ran the arms and military supplies operations via Kampong Som seaport for Viet Cong with an annual profit estimated at 250 million reals. Not sure if Monique profit from it or not, but she approved the smuggling activities by providing political support arms to Viet Congs. Monique was not shy about her sympathy feeling toward the Viet Cong fighters. This is the second Khmer king married to Vietnamese ladies. The first one was CHHYNA II. Sihanouk announced that he loves his wife. Sihanouk said, "I love my wife. She is a very smart person and a very clever politician." Before 1970 he wished to be crowned king again, and have Monique as his queen. This created a drift between Sihanouk's mother Queen Kasamak.
Wow. Thank you. Lady, what do you think?
Start with me first.
Yes.
I have to say that Monique Ezibong is one of the most malicious Vietnamese women who conspired to annihilate Khmer race from the get-go. She's not the Cambodian queen. I want the whole world to know that she's not Cambodian queen. She is the Vietnamese conspired to annihilate our race, our Cambodian people. That's how angry I am after watching this video.
On KALYAN.
You know, now since the world, all Khmer saw the, you know, the dark history of our country, you know, if we would have had a better leader, a best leader, we would not, Khmer would not suffer and crying till today. They are suffering so badly right now. You know, I open up all the media, the Facebook, it just, we should not be in this position. You know, our Khmer land once were a Khmer empire, very powerful, you know, powerful people. How could this be like this? So no, change is coming. Change is coming.
Thank you. NARY, do you want to say anything? Are you okay?
I am, you know, I'm very, very upset about Monique that make Sihanouk to follow her. Everything that Sihanouk do, it behind Sihanouk is Monique and her mother too.
Yes.
So that's what I'm very, very upset when we talk about this. Yeah.
You're not the only one, I mean, we all agree.
Thank you, lady. That is very powerful evidence indeed. You know, this is clearly documented by Monique has her evil plan, annihilate our land. Now let us go back to Lokta Bayon about this evil plan. On KALYAN, please share your thought on this.
Well, you know, Lokta Bayon's scenario is like this. First, they made Khmer weak by luring Khmer leaders to fight each other due to their greed, and of course, you know, drunk with women. You know, they inject those Vietnamese ladies into those men. And as evidence, in 1952, the Vietnamese communists injected a covert spy into Sihanouk's life, and that is his number 6 wife, Monique Ezy. Now, Monique Ezy is half French Italian, and the other half she's Vietnamese. So on her mother's side. So these are the 2 main reasons that led to 3 million genocide.
This is the poison. Then that poison our country is Monique Ezy. See, it's not a Khmer queen.
Please elaborate on the detail if you could, on KALYAN.
Well, you know, His Excellencies always said, break up, divide, destroy, and conquer. These communist groups know that Prince Sihanouk was weak and had a very strong appetite for women. So they lay out 6 points of attack to swallow our Khmer land for their own purposes. Okay, with Monique in place, as we all seen in this short video earlier, they launched the following 6 points of their plan to conquer. The Vietnamese Communist 6 points of their plan. This is from Lokta Bayon research, and let me quote it. 1, they suck the blood out of our economy to support the Viet Cong. And 2, they devalue our financial system by poison our central bank with counterfeit Khmer currency, which are real. And 3, they prevent or find a way to deter the national army from being effective to defend its country. And 4, they manipulate to the people. I mean, they manipulate the people to believe that King Sihanouk is the God King. And 5, the Vietnamese communists ordered Monique to pull Sihanouk away from the country of democracy. And 6, they strategize a plan to support opposition parties or political movements, like the Pol Pot movement, to wait for a window of opportunity to bring down Sihanouk government and to bring Cambodia into the Indo-China Federation when the United States government leaves South Vietnam.
Thank you, On. CHHYNA and On KALYAN, just share with us with the Vietnamese Communist doctrine. Here is the most crucial question I want to ask for tonight. You know, many Khmer around the world do not know, especially me, not knowing it until we start working on this project. I understand that both of you have a real fact per your research that there's some, you know, secret negotiation between the United States and China to end Khmer Civil War. Now, the big question is, could there have been a possibility of the genocide that could have been avoided? You know what, I need both of you ladies to take turn to provide some of the key points and data on could have been changed, you know, our history. Oh, CHHYNA, you go first.
Yes, well, of course, based on the article that we have in the data bank, there was a major secret agreement that came to terms to end the Civil War peacefully. It was between the United States, the Chinese Communist Party, and then Prince Sihanouk.
That is right, CHHYNA. The United States government had a vision that Khmer is better off being neutral due to the country political structure. So at that time, Ford administration tried to end the Civil War peacefully by arranging for President Lon Nol to step down to make a smooth transition for Sihanouk to assume control of the country. The agreement was reached between 3 parties: the United States government, the Chinese communists, and Sihanouk. President Lon Nol agreed to step down on April 1st, 1975.
And yes, Mong, President Lon Nol was in so much tears on his way to the airport. He did not travel straight to Honolulu that day. He detoured to Jakarta and stayed there until April 8th, I believe, in 1975, before continuing his travel to exile to Honolulu, Hawaii. I guess he was waiting for the confirmation of the agreement, Mong.
Yeah, you know, correct, CHHYNA. Because of the interim president of Khmer Republic, or the caretaker, President Sckhk, made an announcement via radio that his government was preparing for Prince Sihanouk to rejoin the government. And the record has shown that President Lon Nol left for Honolulu on April 8, 1975. But this agreement never materialized because the inner circle of the Upper Chinese Communist Party changed their political direction, not to honor the agreement on agreement at 4 a.m. on April 12, 1975.
You know what? This is a typical Chinese style. I am also heard from some of the international business people that they have dealt with them, said that they are not to be trusted, just like the COVID-19 disclosure.
Yes, the Chinese communists are very, very sneaky to the people. Yes.
Yes, Nary, Prince Sihanouk was extremely disappointed because he was looking forward to returning to power, especially in a peaceful manner. But the Chinese government betrayed him instead. They chose Pol Pot to take over Cambodia that led to 3 million deaths. How sad is that?
Yeah, and you know what else, ladies? I just found this out on an open media. And I would like to share with everyone just for your thoughts only. This is just my opinion that based on the short article that I found on the internet, Mr. Zhou Enlai, the premier of CCP from 1949 to 1976, had an extraordinary personal bond with Prince Sihanouk ever since they met in 1955 in Bandung, Indonesia. Here's my point. Mr. Zhou Enlai never missed any of Sihanouk or Monique's birthday unless he was on an official overseas business. Their friendship was very, very, very solid. So if Mr. Zhou Enlai, the premier of CCP, has not been suffering from cancer, China would have kept the agreement for Sihanouk because Mr. Zhou Enlai was in control of the foreign policy at the time, and he knew how much it meant to Sihanouk to return back to power. The two old friends said their final goodbye on August the 26th, 1975. And 6 months later, Mr. Zhou Enlai died in Beijing. Again, if Mr. Zhou Enlai would have kept that agreement, and Pol Pot would not have started their rampage that lasted 3 years, the slaughtering, the rampage, slaughtering, killing. And that would not lasted for the 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days that killed 3 million people. So this Chinese Communist Party must be responsible as much as Khmer Rouge, Sihanouk, and Hun Sen.
Owen, can you please elaborate more on this secret agreement?
Well, no foreigner will ever put my interest first before their country interests. The Chinese communists always wanted to control Cambodia, and Pol Pot was the ticket to control our land for its communist expansion into Southeast Asia. The Chinese Communist Party had 5,000 of its technical experts in Cambodia from 1975 to 1979, while 3 million innocent souls lost from being starved to death or slaughtered to death. This kind of participation by the Vietnamese Communist Party, the Supreme Council of Khmer for Rescue will make sure that they shall pay a great penalty when we are in position to bring the legal action against this evil empire.
Yes, Mong KALYAN, let me piggyback on this. This decisions on April 12th, 1975, not to honor the agreement was the beginning of the journey into the darkness for our people for the last 45 years. Our people's darkness of horror for the last 45 years at the hand of the monsters should not be forgotten, Mong. Like I had mentioned, if this evil empire never changed their political interests that morning of April 12th, 1975, and that was 4 a.m. in the morning to be exact, Khmer would never be put into slaughterhouses. Then the Vietnamese invaded our country in 1979. Then the Vietnamese of K5 project, which was ethnic annihilating again of the at least 500,000 people got slaughtered, would not have been taken place. We would not have the 1991 Cambodia-Paris Peace Accord. Of course, we would never have the 40 illegal international treaties with the Vietnamese communists and lost 2 islands. And we could never lose the 70,000 square kilometers of the ocean floor with the high value of natural resources that would be valued at trillions of dollars of potential revenues.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese communists always won out Khmer land for a long, long time ago.
You know what? Gone Khmer cried ever since in 1863. We have lost much Khmer land and been through so much horror. But I have a strong belief that the happy day are coming soon. The Khmer Empire will not easily get rid of. Before we end, I have another question about the 5K that was mentioned earlier. On KALYAN, before we end our show, can you share with us the 5K project? It's Cambodia, it's called Ko Pram. Everybody know, like, it's the second killing field.
Well, CHHOVY, per our research, the record shows that the Vietnamese General Lee Doc Tho assigned Hun Sen to be the point man in charge of the program called K5 or Kopram Plan, also known as the Bamboo Wall. When Hun Sen was the Minister of Foreign Affairs in 1984, this was actually the second round of genocide that caused tens and thousands of victims. Some estimated to be about 500,000 lives were expendable to annihilate Kon Khmer, to make it easier for the Vietnamese communists to swallow up Khmerland.
Yep. How long did the K5 program last? Was there any, reaction from the world community of this atrocity?
Well, the deadly plans called K5 lasted 4 years, from 1984 to 1988. Yes, according to the U.S. Congress records, the United States House of Representatives on October 2nd, 1998, and the U.S. Senate in January of 1999, both passed their separate resolution in supporting judicial proceeding against Hun Sen, the former Khmer Rouge officer and the present dictator, for serious violation of international laws on human rights since 1979 for crime against humanity.
Oh, can you give some of the detail about this K5 project?
As I said, it was a plan designed to annihilate Kon Khmer. They sent young men into forced labor who died of starvation, exhaustion, disease, particularly malaria, and lost their limbs and lives to the anti-personnel mines that scattered on the site where they were sent.
Yes, Bong, and listen to this. Many of these laborers were executed for trying to escape. You see, again, this is another less than genocide. It was done that same method that was perpetrated by Pol Pot former colleagues, and among them was Hun Sen. During that period, Hun Sen was a member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party and was promoted from the Minister of Foreign Affairs to the Prime Minister. My fellow Kon Khmer out there, the pain that inflicted by the K5 program destroyed, again, thousands of families with missing fathers, husbands, or sons, daughters, and there are thousands of handicapped people who's missing eyes and legs. And don't ever forget that. I guarantee that when that time comes, our Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue will make sure that Hun Sen faces justice for sure. Mong Chavi.
Thank you, CHHYNA. Hun Sen, as one of the main leaders, he must bear responsibility for the genocide, the first and the second round.
No, Mong Chavi, you are absolutely right. Hun Sen will be brought to justice. Like all of us had said, Hun Sen, the evil communist, will not win. On this note, I would like to point out and remind all Kon Khmer out there that the communist Khmer Rouge did not die out. They just changed their looks and got worse. Yes, they still kill. Since January the 9th, 1979, these leftover scums became the traitors of our nation. Hun Sen and his cronies contribute to our lifelong enemies for their personal gain. So the Khmer Rouge did not die on January 9, 1979.
Yes, come to think of it, you are right. The killing never stopped. They just got smarter because of their treason act. Our sovereignty was lost in 1979, but thanks to the free world community for the 1991 Cambodian Paris Agreement. Now, about NARY, would you like make any comment?
Yes, dear. I am very happy that I am part of the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer, and I know we will take our land back to all Kon Khmer hand.
Thank you, NARY. CHHYNA.
Yes, Bong, this is our 5th Khmer Ladies Viewpoint, and I have learned a lot about our dark history, that kings and their cronies had sold off our lands to foreigners, and different countries that leave us only 176,520 square kilometers, as stated in Australian Ministry of Foreign Affairs website. And most importantly, I just want to let you all know that, you know, we all need to stand together. You know, as they say, one of the American motto, united we stand, and divided we fall. We all need to stand together, you know, as a nation again, as a Cambodian nation again, so we all can be whole again. And in my heart, I am so glad that we grow so fond of each other in this group, and nothing can break us. That's for sure. So to our future Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now your turn on KALYAN.
No, again, Bong, thank you, Bong CHHOVY, and Bong NARY and CHHYNA. Again, I am incredibly grateful to be part of the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue. This Khmer Ladies Viewpoint shows has empowered us to be more strong, to be stronger than ever. This is the result of hard work by His Excellency, Dr. Ray Chadam, and Ming SUON, and Mr. Sckhk. And from knowing the dark side of our Khmer history, I have a great confidence that our 200 years nightmare will be over soon. We will never be under anyone's colonial rules or worried about being annihilated again, because the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue has 5 solid plans to bring prosperity to Khmer land. 1, Volka, which is principle, objective, and goals. 2, Panka, which is planning. 3 is Tudal, directions. 4, Komrongka, which is project and master plan. And 5, Tapika, which is financial budget. And finally, I am very grateful to know all of you ladies personally. This has been a great learning experience and to be part of this great journey. Thank you, Bong CHHOVY.
Thank you, lady, for your wonderful recap. Again, we have come to the end of our 5th show. You lady have been highly informative, and thank you again for sharing, you know, the information, your personal sorrow experience. I am very blessed for your friendship and experience that we all undertaking tonight for our motherland. Thank you, lady. We, the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue, will make sure all the traitors will be brought to justice. And before we close our wonderful this evening, I would like to acknowledge Luk Chamkis Van Ho and Mr. Oksor for their guidance and support of our Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue Khmer Lady Viewpoint show. And to His Excellency Professor Dr. Ray Chadam, we are the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue Lady Viewpoint. Wish to thank you, Your Excellency, from the bottom of our heart for giving all of us here the opportunity to be part of the history. Until we meet again next month, if you find this show and the information share of value, please follow the Khmer Politics and the Supreme Council of Khmer Help Khmer for Rescue. Thank you, everyone, and good night. Back to you, NARY.
ចាពេលវេលារបស់យើងក៏បានមកដល់ទីបញ្ចប់ហើយដែរចាដូច្នោះយើងខ្ញុំក៏សូមអរគុណនៅសំណាក់បងប្អូនកូនក្មួយទាំងអស់ដែលបានតាមដាននៅប្រវត្តិឯកសាររបស់ខ្មែរជាឯកសារសំខាន់សម្រាប់បងប្អូននិងបេះដូងខ្មែរទាំងអស់គ្នាយើងខ្ញុំនឹងមកជួបបងប្អូនម្ដងទៀតនៅខែក្រោយហើយយើងខ្ញុំក៏សូមជូនពរដល់បងប្អូនទាំងអស់ឲ្យជួបប្រទះតែនឹងពុទ្ធពរទាំង5ប្រការគឺអាយុវណ្ណៈសុខៈពលៈបដិធានៈកំបីគ្លៀងឃ្លាតឡើយអរព្រះគុណនិងអរគុណជម្រាបលា
ចា
quê lìa đôi hàng យើងខ្មែរតែមួយ